Shay had been a big fan of the original two John Wicks, and had written this script about an assassin cult that lived in Switzerland, and a little bit of a revenge story with this lead female character. And it was kind of funny, I think, because I think it was Thunder Road, Balzionic, who was reading it as I'm shooting John Wick 3. And it was all about ballerinas and all this kind of little ballerina box. And I was big into ballet at the time. I was trying to put a ballerina sequence into John Wick 3, which is part of the Ruska Roma where John Wick comes from. And they thought, oh, that's kind of coincidental, that kind of fit. And I think their heads went spinning, wow, this could be, it felt of the world. I think, it's always tricky to do John Wick without John Wick, or John Wick adjacent, or however you want to put it. But I think one of the fascinating things in the franchise to me is kind of the world creation. Mm-hmm. Like we always say, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology and Tolkien and all kinds of fantasy-esque worlds like that. So to build your own world and take it, and in the features of John Wick, we have that 2 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes sometimes, to explore the worlds. And it's usually, very John Wick centric. We're always with the characters, so we don't really have time to explore all the worlds, which is why TV and an anime are always exciting. But also the ancillary features, like Ballerina, give us a chance to explore that world. Is it something people want to see? I think so. Can we make the characters exciting and stuff? I think so. They're intrinsically going to be different than John Wick. Mm. I think if we just tried copying the same story of our protagonist, it would get redundant or feel a little bit out. But trying to give each of our leads a different story arc, I think, is what we're hoping for. Eve's just getting off in her, or just starting off in her career, so she's a little bit newer. She makes mistakes, she corrects. Emotionally, she's seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time. It's like her foray into the Wick world. And I think that's the fun part. You get to see her evolve in it and not just be a badass. You get to see her become a badass. The protagonist comes from that background of a father-daughter story of an orphan child in a ballet school that's trying to find her way, and how she deals with another orphan or another child that needs help. We kind of put, I guess, more empathy into John, both from the audience's point of view and John's point of view. But if you go back to the first film, he's a force to be reckoned with. He is a little bit of the boogeyman. So it's nice to see that from a different perspective. And again, that's another, that was one of the benefits of Ballerina and the perspective in which they did it in, is you got to see John Wick in the perspective of the first movie, which is, a little bit more antagonist than protagonist. I think Sharon was a really great addition as Nogi. Mm. I love seeing Angelica Houston back, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick. Really big fan of Rob that came in and helped us out from Germany. I think he's got a great stare. He's a great bad guy. Really enjoyed Daniel Bernhardt again. And, Gabriel Byrne is come on. he's amazing. Anna, of course, is the biggest new welcome in. There's all different kinds of choreography in martial arts. It's tone. Mm-hmm. Do you want a wuxia film with a fantasy film in China, like a Crouching Tiger? Do you want wire work everywhere? Do you want that hyper-real aesthetic? Do you want, we're already pushing it pretty good where one person can shoot 100 people. I think we're pretty fantasy already, but we want to keep it, or the vibe that was always the intent of John Wick was we want the characters in the movie to believe it's real. Yeah. What the audience sees is a hyper real world, which is hopefully a little bit more fun, more of a grounded type anime situation than fantasy-esque or superpowers or a superhero movie. I think a lot of action movies are meant to be that. It's meant to be a ride. And sometimes you're vibing on the film, sometimes you're vibing on the response of the crowd, and I think that's really important. I don't think Ballerina the Wicks were made exclusively for theaters, but they were made with a theatrical they're meant to get everybody going, oh yeah, here we go, this is it, he's gonna shoot everybody now, or oh my god, they killed this puppy. There's a cool moment when you're watching it with an audience and you hear everybody go silent, like, oh, okay, that's the that's where everybody's behind the character. And when as John Wick buries his puppy, we knew the audience goes silent and nobody talked. And either that's really good or really bad. And then the first time he unwinds on people, place goes nuts, and like that's a great experience. So hopefully there's enough interesting action and some interesting, get behind the lead character moments in Ballerina that make you want to ride that wave. It was done on a big format with the right colors, and I think with the music, and I think it's meant to be seen in a theater. But I think the biggest part is like, action is meant to be seen, and go on that ride with everybody. Nobody wants to ride the roller coaster alone,